Hey guys, YouTuber Internet here. Alright, and now we're with another Star Trek movie review. Continuing looking at the remake trilogy. Now here I am with the review for Star Trek Into Darkness. So I do think that overall this is a pretty good movie. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure whether it comes to really liking the first movie of this trilogy or this one. I think I probably do like the first one a little bit more than this one. But I mean, I still do think that this is a pretty good movie. I mean, yeah, it is pretty good, but once again, not really great. I mean, yeah, my reasons for really not thinking that this one is really great are pretty much the same reasons as I do with the first one. Because I mean, really, it's just J.J. Abrams style, just overblown with effects and stuff. And really, some scenes in this movie that have effects really don't even need to have the effects that they do. Like, some scenes just have, some random, explosions in them and stuff. Really, just, I feel just, why did they even have those in there? I mean, they just were really unnecessary. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is reasons why like I said in my last review, why I don't like J.J. Abrams. Because, yeah, he just, overloads stuff with effects that really don't need to be here. And, yeah, it's just, overblown with unneeded effects. And plus, like I said before, he just tries outdoing, the original creators on projects that he didn't do. But, yeah, the original creator did. Yeah, he did it with the first movie, and, yeah, he tries to do it again with this film. So, yeah, it's really, pretty much the same reason as the first one, why I really don't think this is really a great movie. But, I mean, it is still, pretty good movie. I mean, I did enjoy, watching this. I mean, as far as a sequel goes, I mean, I did kind of, see, more similarities with this film with Wrath of Khan than I really did with the first film with, the original motion picture film. I mean, yeah, this film, it does seem to have, a lot more similar elements to Wrath of Khan. I mean, not just because, Khan, of course, is in this movie, but I mean, there's also some other things. I mean, it has, just throughout this movie, I did notice there were some things that this film did that were similar to Wrath of Khan, particularly at the end where Kirk ends up sacrificing himself to save the crew and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, really similar to what how Spock did it in Wrath of Khan. He sacrificed himself to save the crew, but yeah, they did it differently this time and had it be Kirk who sacrificed himself instead of Spock this time. And also, they do actually end up, saving Kirk and bring him back to life at the end of this film, unlike where, Spock remained dead in Wrath of Khan, and it wasn't until the next film, Search for Spock, that they brought him back. So, yeah, I guess they, do, a smart move, I guess, to bring Kirk back at the end. But at the same time, really, I mean, it really kind of made him dying pointless, to be honest, if they were just going to bring him right back. So, yeah, kind of both a good thing and a bad thing there. And yeah, and of course, and also in this movie, we do get to see the Klingons and stuff. Yeah, and I guess they do kind of go through some different conflicts than they did in the first film, such as it seems like with Khan in this film, they actually do make him really two-faced. When the movie starts off and stuff, it looks like Khan is actually trying to help the Enterprise crew, and then he eventually ends up double-crossing them, and he's taking control of the Vengeance. So yeah, they do do kind of an interesting twist on Khan this time. Yeah. Yeah. And it's showing in this film Kirk ends up after he violates a rule or something, he ends up being removed from the command position of the Enterprise and stuff. And so yeah, it kind of has some different conflicts in this film. Yeah. And just about all the original, well, yeah, all the same cast members return from the first film. You still have Chris Pine as Kirk, and I do think Chris Pine, he does do better in this film than he did in the first one. Yeah, like I was saying in review for the first movie, I mean, it just seemed like in that movie he was really kind of like being a goofy person and stuff. So yeah, but in this film he does like mature up. So yeah, I guess Chris Pine, yeah, he does do better in this film. And yeah, Zachary Quinto as Spock, Zoe Saldana as your uh, yeah, Anton Yelchin as Chekhov. And so yeah, pretty much everyone returns. And yeah, in this film have Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan, and yeah, he does do pretty good in the role. And yeah, of course, like in this film, also once again have like a small appearance once again from Leonard Nimoy, like the older Spock. But yeah, his appearance in this movie is really brief, and of course, like this would be the final appearance of Leonard Nimoy acting, and this would be his last film. So yeah, I guess I guess it does. It is a good way for him to end his acting career as Spock. So yeah, I guess that's good. And so yeah, pretty much yeah, original cast, yeah, same cast members, and yeah, still like and some new ones too. So yeah, overall I do think that this is a pretty good movie. I'd probably give this one once again 3.5 stars out of 4. I mean, a pretty good film with a pretty good story to it, and yeah, overall it's a good film. All right, so yeah, let me just get right into it. Alright, so the movie opens with like the Enterprise on a mission and on the planet of Nibiru, is that how it's said? And they're trying to like save the inhabitants of the planet from like a volcanic eruption or something. Yeah. And apparently like during the mission Kirk ended up like exposing the ship to the inhabitants. And yeah, and as a result, then Kirk ended up like being removed from the command of the Enterprise after he violated the Prime Directive. And so then Admiral Pike ends up being reinstated back to the commanding position, and then Kirk ended up being demoted down to the first officer. And also, like, Spock ended up being transferred to a different ship. And eventually, after that, the Section 31 installation in London ends up being bombed, which is actually like being perpetrated by the renegade Starfleet operative John Harrison, who would later we would find out was Khan. And yeah, then like he ended up like attacking the Starfleet headquarters. There's inside from a jump ship during like as they were having an emergency meeting about the situation, and Pike ended up being killed along with other senior officers. And Kirk was able to disable the jump ship after he threw a rifle into one of the engines. But yeah, Harrison, or like Khan, whatever you want to call him, ended up escaping by transporting to the home world of the Klingons, Kronos. And then Kirk and Spock ended up being reinstated onto the Enterprise by Admiral Alexander Marcus. And then, like, he gives them orders to kill Harrison by using, like, new long-range photon torpedoes. And then Scotty actually, like, was objecting to allow them to use the torpedo since they were untested. And yeah, there's like really not knowing any specifications. But then, like, after Scotty ended up like being overruled, he then just resigned from his post. And then Chekhov was then assigned by Kirk to replace Scotty. And as they were heading to Kronos, then just the warp capabilities on the Enterprise just ended up like mysteriously became disabled. And then eventually Kirk along with Spock and Uhura, were leading a team onto the planet, and then they ended up like being ambushed by some patrols of the Klingons. And then, yeah, eventually Uhura was trying to talk to the Klingons. And then she was trying to tell them about Harrison being on their planet, but they really didn't care about it. And then they were gonna kill Uhura, but then Harrison, along with some help from Kirk and the crew, ended up killing the Klingons in a battle. And then afterwards, then Harrison ended up just approaching Kirk, and then he just demanded to know how many torpedoes were on board the Enterprise. And then after Spock then told him, then and Harrison just ended up surrendering. And then Harrison was just like put into the brig of the ship, and then he then revealed his true identity as Khan. And it turned out like, of course, like he was a genetically engineered superhuman who Admiral Marcus ended up awakening. And after, from centuries of like the suspended animation to develop of like some advanced weapons of war or against the Klingon Empire. And yeah, just like Dr. McCoy and like Doc, uh, Admiral Marcus's daughter or Carol just ended up opening a torpedo at his behest and just showed like inside like Khan was just a cryogenetic status, and apparently like every torpedo aboard the Enterprise actually contained a human and the stasis and stuff. Yeah. And Khan also revealed that Marcus actually ended up like sabotaging the Enterprise warp drive, and he actually had intentions for the Klingons to destroy the ship, and after it was fired onto Kronos, which would end up like creating an act of war by the Klingon Empire. And then Khan also like gave like a set of coordinates to Kirk, and Kirk then made contact with Scotty, who was on Earth, and he just asked Scotty to investigate, and Scotty eventually discovered that they were like leading a covert Starfleet facility near Jupiter. And then the Enterprise eventually just ended up being intercepted by a Starfleet that was designed but was a much larger warship, which was named the USS Vengeance, which was commanded by Admiral Marcus. And then Marcus just like was demanding for Kirk to deliver Khan. But then just after like the warp drive was just repaired hastily, Enterprise just ended up like fleeing to Earth in an attempt to expose Admiral Marcus. And after like Vengeance ended up like intercepting and disabled the Enterprise near the moon, Kirk then just revealed to Admiral Marcus about his daughter's presence aboard the ship. And then Admiral Marcus just forcibly transported Carol onto the Vengeance, before then ordering the destruction of the Enterprise. But then Kirk just tried to offer Khan and himself to spare the life of the Enterprise crew, but Admiral Marcus then just has ended up like rejecting that offer, and then just ordered an attack by the Vengeance on the Enterprise. But then it just showed that the Vengeance then just suddenly lost power, and it turned out like Scotty actually ended up like sabotaging the ship after he infiltrated it. Yeah. And then the transporters were still down. Kirk and Khan, and then just space jumped onto the Vengeance. And then like Spock also ended up like contacting his older self. And of course, like once again played by Leonard Nimoy. And then he was just warned that Khan is just like not to be trusted, and And like in another reality, he was also defeated, but only at a terrible cost. And after Kirk, Khan, Scotty, and Carol ended up like capturing the bridge, Khan then just ended up like attacking Kirk, Scotty, and Carol, and just ended up like knocking them out. And it just showed like he hurt Carol. I'm not sure if like he broke her arm or something, but I'm thinking like it was something like that. And he eventually killed Admiral Marcus by like he just like grabbed his head, and it just like didn't show what he actually did. I don't know if he just like pulled the head off or just squeezed it until it bursted or what. Now they didn't actually reveal what happened to Admiral Scotty when Khan killed him, but anyway, yeah. And then Khan just ended up like taking control over the Vengeance. And then, yeah, Spock was then just demanded by Kirk to return the crew sealed in the cryogenic tubes in exchange for all the Enterprise's officers, which were, of course, like Kirk, Scotty, and Carol. And then Spock ended up, like, complying, but then he just ended up, like, removing Khan's frozen crew, and he ended up, like, arming the warheads. And then just Kirk, Scotty, and Carol were then just beamed back aboard the Enterprise. But then Khan just then ended up like betraying the agreement, and he ended up like damaging the Enterprise critically. But yeah, the Vengeance was still disabled when the torpedoes actually ended up detonated, and it turned out like both of the ships were like caught in the Earth's gravity, and then they were starting to like plummet toward the Earth's surface. And then Kirk just ended up like entering the reactor chamber, and then he just ended up like realigning the warp core, and then of course like that ended up like sacrificing himself to save the ship. And then Khan then just ended up crashing the Vengeance right into downtown San Francisco to destroy the Starfleet headquarters. And some of the city ended up being destroyed, but Khan like ended up surviving and escaped the wreckage. And then it just like showed that Spock then just went up to Kirk, and they were just talking a little bit. And then eventually Kirk ended up like dying, similar to how it happened in Wrath of Khan with Spock dying. But then, Spock then just ended up transporting down and just chasing down Khan in pursuit. And then eventually, like, Dr. McCoy ended up discovering that Khan's blood actually has some regenerative properties that may be able to save Kirk's life. And then Spock eventually like caught Khan, and then he was just about to kill Khan, but then Uhura stopped Spock and told Spock that Khan is their only chance of Kirk living, and so then Spock just ended up like knocking Khan out, and then it cut to like a year later where then Kirk then awakened, and it turned out that he lived. And then it just showed like Kirk speaking at like the rededication ceremony for the Enterprise, and then it just showed like Khan was then just sealed in the cryogenic pod and stored with the compatriots. And then it just like ended with the Enterprise crew beginning to embark on like a 5-year exploratory mission into space, and that's how the movie ended. So 3.5 stars out of 4. Or pretty good movie. Probably like just right below like Undiscovered Country, First Contact, and the 2009 film. Yes, and not a great movie, but still a pretty good one. Alright, so so that does it for a review of Star Trek Into Darkness. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and stay tuned tomorrow when I finish off the month with these Star Trek reviews with my review of Star Trek Beyond to close out the month with these reviews. Alright, so stay tuned for that coming up tomorrow. But anyway, alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.